Let's get comfy, friends. A lot of you guys have asked me numerous questions about modeling and entering in the modeling world. And so I figured I'd give you 5 things that I feel like people don't talk about enough or give you advice about when entering the modeling world, and things that I wish I had known prior to entering into it. My name is Fabiola Michelle. I have been a model now a little bit over 4 or 5 years now. I have been in Target, I have been in Sephora, I have been on billboards and OSEA, both in New York and LA. I've done like some smaller stuff as well. But there are a lot of things that I feel like I wasn't told or informed or prepared for when entering into the industry. And so I figured I'd do you a service of giving you a heads up. Because I think it's very glamorized and people are just like, oh my God, you must love it. You must make all this money. You must, get all this free stuff and get free clothing, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, what movie or show are y'all watching that y'all think all this happens? And I know it's because you have these massive models that have been in the industry for like 10 years, 15 years, that are supermodels and all this. That's not our life. It is not. I wish it was, because honestly, life would be very different for me, but it's not. Okay. So I made a little list, per usual. The first thing on my list is getting paid. People think you get paid very quickly and instant and it's a massive amount, blah, blah, blah. That is not really the case. When you get signed or when you get booked for a job, first of all, you never know when you officially get booked, because sometimes you get put on hold, which means that your agency is going to ask you to hold this date just in case you do get picked. So that way they know that they have first priority over you. So first you get put on hold, and then finally you might either get booked or released. Released is obviously meaning you didn't get the job. So when you get booked, you do the shoot, you have an amazing time, and they'll tell you what your rate is and what the usage is. Now the thing is, say if I shot today, usually you're supposed to get paid within 30 days, net 30. And you'll hear that very often. Net 30 is obviously, like I said, getting paid within 30 days. However, the way the industry works is not everybody gets paid 30 days. Sometimes you might get net 60, net 90. I remember when I was doing styling, so this is different. And this is also in the freelance industry. When they say net 30, just pray they pay on time. Just pray. Because I have gotten a paycheck a year later. So think about what that means. So you can be booking left and right and still not see a paycheck yet for a minimum of 30 days, as if you don't have bills to pay. Like, what? So that's something that people aren't aware of or don't take into account, is the fact that you do have the net 30, net 60, net 90. And again, there's a chance that sometimes you might not get paid within that time period. So imagine what that feels like. So again, like I said, payment, that can be a thing that you might have to wait for, and that's a thing that you kind of have to negotiate. If you are doing this on your own, I would see if you can negotiate net 15 at least. Some agencies, some brands do pay earlier. Like the 2 companies that I love working with, because they always pay, if not on time, but early, is Sephora and Target. Book me all the Target and Sephora jobs ever. I will take every single one. So that is something that people don't tell you about or prepare you for. So you're thinking, oh great, I'm going to get paid within 30 days, and your bills are piling up. And you're just like, 30 days turn into 45, 45 turns into 90, 90 turns into 120. It's a whole big thing. So prepare yourself with that. So it's very important to either get a part-time job like many models do. Excuse me. Many models do have part-time jobs, and usually the top 2 things are usually doing service work, which is waitressing at a bar, a restaurant, whatever, and bartending, because those jobs are usually flexible. They're easy with your schedule. You can adjust here and there week by week. because when it comes to bookings, you never know when you're going to get booked, and you kind of just need to be able to adjust accordingly. So yes, that's number one. Number two follows right under it, is usage. Okay, so whenever someone wants to book you, and again, I'm telling you both advice for if you are signed and if you're unsigned. When it comes to usage, that's where you can make your bread and butter. So if they want to use it for print, if they want to use it for digital, if they want to use it for like emails, if they want to use it for advertising, social media, and also like when I say usage, it means both where is it going and for how long. So I have definitely had people ask for perpetuity. Never, ever, ever agree to that. Don't do it, because you can do a job because you were like in dire need of money, and then you get screwed over because you got paid, let's say like, I'm trying to think of like a decent price. Say you got $1,500 for a job, and that's in perpetuity. 5 years from now, you're going to still see that ad running with your face on it. And it has nothing to do with who you are, your lifestyle, what you represent, whatever. But because you agreed, they can continue to use it. So don't ever agree to perpetuity. And the funny thing is, the minute you say, hey, I appreciate you reaching out to me, or I appreciate this email, however, I don't do perpetuity, what other time frame would... I can't even talk. You can say, I don't do perpetuity, but what other time frame works for you? So usually when they say perpetuity, I will bring up 1 year or 2 years. And they're usually okay with that. They're like, okay, no problem. They're really trying to see who knows what the hell they're doing and who they can get away with murder with. And I don't want that to be you. So again, never, ever, ever do work for perpetuity. Tell them Auntie Fab said no, because we're not doing that, okay? But that's a big, big one, is because you're going to see it a lot, especially if you're entering the industry and just starting off. Like I just had somebody hit me up about a job for like UGC work, which is something I'm going to start getting into more. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to do it. The rate was not that great, and she asked me for perpetuity. I was just like, there's no way on God's green earth. She's like, oh, okay, can we use it for a year? They know what they were doing. They know what they were doing, and they knew that I'm a person that you could probably test, just because she doesn't really know how much work I've done or who I've worked with. So she's trying to see what she can get away with. And I'm like, that's cute. But it ain't me, bruh. It ain't me. Next, what I'm going to say is finding a good agent or agency. The agency world and the agent world is a very interesting, can be messy, and I'm trying to use all the right words, but if you get an agent, or if you're looking for an agency or a specific agent, these are some of the tips that I'm going to suggest. 1, look at their board and see if there's anyone on their board that looks like you. You kind of don't want to look like anybody else on the board, because you want to make sure that when a company goes to them, they know exactly what they want, and they know that you fit that type. Because then it becomes you're one of 5 people that they can choose from your agency. Why would you want that to be your odds? That makes no sense. So that's 1. 2, you want to make sure that the people that are on that board, and when I say board, that means everyone that's signed in that agency, and that's like in your category. So like I'm considered either a curve or mid-size. So I always look at different agencies. What do their curve models look like? Do they look like me? Do they not look like me? So on and so forth. You want to make sure that those girls, guys, gays, or theys, whatever you identify as, you want to make sure that those people are booking, and they're booking decently enough. Not everyone's booked all the time. And especially now, because a lot of jobs are going to content creators. So you want to make sure, maybe if you want to reach out to some of the models that are under that board and say, hey, how's it been working with them? But even that can be a gamble, because you're not going to look like those people either way. But I would still take the time to reach out and find out, how do these models like their agency? Are they getting enough work? Are they getting enough support? Does it feel like they are pushing, that the agency is pushing them to where they want to be? And how does that communication style look like? How does the payments look like? There are all these things that you want to take into account when looking for an agent or an agency. You just want to make sure that they're going to hear you, they're going to support you, they're looking out for you, and they're like very much like, this is who I want to work with. Not just you because you're the moment or you have the look that everybody's looking for right now. No. I want longevity. But if it's not a longevity thing, fine, milk it for what it's worth 100%. But also think about where is it that you want to go and what's the long run. So even talking about that to your agent, saying, hey, I want to start off with modeling, but eventually I want to go into acting and looking for a talent agent. They can find those things for you as well. And say, for example, say you're based in New York or based in LA and you're like, hey, I eventually want to get signed in the UK. They can help you with that as well. So you want to find someone that can do all these things for you. And if not do these things, do some of the minor things for you to start off with. And you can sign with them for a year, 2 years, and then go to the next agency after that, if that's what you want to do. But don't just sign to anybody. Really do your research and look into who these people are, what they've done for their existing clientele, and how's that clientele skyrocketed to the next step or phase of their career, because you want to make sure that you can do the same. So that, and when I say that, this is very important. The agent is crucial because they can make your career. I've seen some agencies break your career. Like I've seen a model go from one agency where they were like flourishing and building like a massive book of clients that they were working with consistently, and then get transferred to another agency and it's been quiet. Like you haven't heard from them or seen from them. You're just kind of like, bitch, you good? Like, you all right? You good over there? So that is very important. This one is something that I had to accept myself, is self-esteem. Your self-esteem and your self-worth will be tested. Unless you're one of those people that are just like fully like, oh, I'm that bad bitch, 100%, cool. But even then, I still think it come up. Luckily, we're not in the time of like the 90s and the 2000s, like the early 2000s, but this is still a thing. You will start taking apart your body and just being like, why do my arms do this little flap wingy thing? I need to take care of that. Why is my nose so big? Maybe I want to make it smaller. Maybe I need to enhance my lips more. It's going to make you feel like you need to change so much about yourself. And that's both with possibly an agent telling you that, possibly someone on set saying that to you. I've had someone on set one time. I was putting on a bathing suit and it was a whole big thing. And basically, someone tried to say that I looked very skimpy in the bathing suit, as if like I had too much meat and I was kind of just like ballooning over in the tiny bathing suit. And I'm like, but mind you have a size 2 in a thonkini and you ain't saying nothing. And my butt's fully covered, my breasts are fully covered, but yet I look, what? It was a lot. And so when it comes to your body, when it comes to your face, when it comes to your hair, even when it comes to your skin tone, like for myself, I know one of the things that made me not uneasy, but one of the things that I had to be more aware of, or was not had to be, but it just was pushed onto me, was I was aware of my skin color even more. Like being a Black person, I'm aware of my skin color everywhere I go. But I was more aware that when it comes to being my shade, I'm not like the top pick with certain jobs. Usually they're looking for someone that is like a lot darker than me, which I don't blame them, their skin is gorgeous, or that has a lot more African features. I don't know if that's the correct term to use. Probably isn't, but I just know I don't look like a certain kind of model, and that's why I don't think I book certain kinds of jobs. And it's hard at first because I was just like, dang, I've always loved how I look. Now it makes me feel like I should look this way just to book certain jobs. No, that job is not for me, and that is fine. It's okay. And if that's the case, and I do want to enter those spaces, that just means that, okay, let's just change how the narrative is told when it comes to Black women in these kinds of shades. But it's definitely going to make you feel like, oh, should I be more in the gym? Should I do more makeup stuff? Should I be posing a certain kind of way? Do I need to be more sexy and provocative? It is definitely going to pick apart who you are, looks-wise, and to some extent personality-wise. Sometimes you'll see certain people on set that are a lot more bubbly and happy, and that's usually me on set. Or you have the person that's a lot more androgynous and sexy and grunge. I'm not that person. I've just learned that that's not me, and that's fine, but I love seeing that in other models that I know. So it's definitely knowing your lane and understanding what that means and being comfortable with that and not feeling you need to change. That is not for you. If there's a lane you want to enter, don't feel like you need to change who you are. That means like trying out new styles or trying new photographers or stylists. Fine, do those things, but don't feel like you need to physically change your body. You are made this way for a reason. And I always say, your life is for two reasons. One, for you to live your life and experiment and try these different things to understand who you are. And two, for other people to watch your journey, to be inspired by who you are and who they want to be as well. Like with my modeling stuff, every other day I'm just like, I'm quitting. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this anymore. And I've received messages where they're just like, yo, I brought my daughter to Target and they saw your ad. Asked me if I didn't cry like a little punk ass bitch. I sure did. So it's definitely a 50-50. If not even a 50-50. But take your time with it. Understand that you're not going to always be for everyone and you're not supposed to be. But the people that are for you will always be riding for you. So, okay, take that into account. The last one I'm going to say is people don't realize how expensive modeling can be. So when I say expensive, it's in the fact of one of the things that's really important with your career is your book. And that means both online, on Instagram, because you can use that as your book as well, down to your website with your agency. So like for me, I have between.com/Fabiola. So whatever is up there is representative of the work that I've done, the work that I want to do, and the work that, just those two. But that means paying for test shoots between photographers, stylists, hairdressers if you have hair, because I clearly don't, and makeup artists, getting your nails done. It's all these things that add up. So when you do your test shoot, the test shoot is for agencies and submissions. So when a brand is looking to book a model, people will have to submit their images, and that's usually like a head shot, full body shot, 3/4 shot, back shot, side head, front of head, your hands sometimes. I'm trying to think what else they usually ask for. But if you already did your digitals, then you're fine. And your digitals is like your first test shoot, we'll say. But when you do test shoots, like real ones, and do I have any examples? We'll see. When you do your actual test shoots, that's more so when you're doing like a fashion shoot. That's when you are doing a workout shoot. That's something that has other kinds of looks and other kinds of styles. And you're telling stories with these images. And the best way to describe it is whatever work you're trying to do. Like say, for example, I want to shoot with Nike. I need to do test shoots that look like Nike. So that means doing my research on how do Nike ads look, what are the models wearing, how are they positioned, how are they posing, and now booking a photographer. If you need a stylist for that, which I don't really feel like you do, but getting pieces that are obviously like Nike, for example, they don't really do printed pieces on their ads. It's usually like black, purple, white, blue. It's all solid colors. So now it's time for you to do the shopping of getting all those pieces, and you do your actual shoot. You do that shoot, you submit it to your agency and tell them, hey, I did a new shoot, and you can post it on your Instagram, your TikTok, whatever you need to do. So that way it's also out there, so that way they can find you as well. Because sometimes they don't go to the agencies. Sometimes they look at people's Instagram pages or TikTok pages and find you. So you want to make sure that you're representing yourself exactly how you want to shoot. Say if you want to do a lingerie shoot and you want to shoot with like Victoria's Secret or Commando or Cup. Again, you can even buy their own products, submit it, tag them, because sometimes they will reach out and say, hey, we love that shoot. Can we use it in such and such? Hey, we love this. Can we share it in such and such? And it's up to you to decide what you want to do. But just realize test shoots do add up. Photographers can start anywhere from, let's see, I've heard a few different prices. Some people will do a cheap one at $200. And then some of them go all the way up to like $800 to $1,000. And that's for one test shoot. And that's usually can start off at like 2 to 3 hours. And they'll give you a minimum of how many looks you can do. So imagine that's just for the photographer. Then you have a stylist. Stylists can start off for test shoots. Some of them I've known start off at like $300, but minimum is usually starting off at $500. Let's say $500 to $800. Then you have that price. Then you have your makeup artist. Unless you are skilled with your makeup and do a great beat face, and I definitely say still ask your photographer, because they're the ones that can help say, hey, you might want to hire somebody, or this person could do it better. So definitely have that conversation. But a makeup artist, usually I want to say it's like $200 as well to start off. Let's say $200. I could be wrong, but look at that for one test shoot already. One test shoot starting off right now says $800. That's starting off $800 for one test shoot. So you really have to think about what this means for you, what that means for you, if this modeling stuff is really what you want to get into, because there's a lot to commit to, from the money that you're making to the relationships that you want to have, to how you look at yourself and how others will look at you, to just building the lifestyle that you want. So don't think it's all, everything's hunky-dory. It's not. I think you can have an amazing career. I think just about anybody can have an amazing career in modeling, especially nowadays, because it's not so cookie cutter, thankfully. But also just be aware that it's also not as inclusive as they claim it is. And I'm saying that from the bottom of my heart. It is really not as inclusive as they say it is. It is a very selective industry nonetheless. But because of the internet, because of social media, you can make that shit work for you. And if it's not modeling, do some content creating stuff, because that's literally right under modeling at this point. And that allows you to show your personality more. That allows you to work with millions of different brands and just be as creative as you want. So don't knock it either. That's honestly where I'm heading into as well myself, is more of the content creation space, even a little bit of the UGC. But these are the things that I wish somebody had told me and prepared me when it came to modeling. So I'm hopeful that this will help you. And if you guys have any other questions or need any assistance in any way that I can possibly help, because I can't give you everything. I think for the most part I can give you whatever I have. But if it's something I can't give you, there's a reason. But again, I think that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And again, like I said, if you have any questions or if there's something on your mind, please submit it down low. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I don't know what else, whatever else the girlies are saying. But in the meantime, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.